Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Jazzy AD. How are you guys all doing today? I hope you guys are doing really well and really great. I feel really well, really great. Please don't mind my hair, it's a mess. I went to the gym and I was like, I barely wanted to put makeup on, but yeah. So as you guys can see, co-host Oliver is here again today. If you guys haven't seen him in a while, I did like a puppy vlog a while back. And now he's all grown up, and you guys should have seen that from my last video. If not, I will link it down below, of course. But that's not what today's about. Today is about finding a job, you guys. So this has been put on my heart for a really long time, just because I had a really hard time after college trying to find a job. Please do not mind my voice, you guys. I still am going through the suffering of allergies right now, so just please forgive me and bear with me through this video. I actually almost didn't want to do this video because I was like, I sound really horrible and I'm gonna be talking the whole time and people are gonna be like, I don't want to listen to her. So it was like put on my heart recently to probably tell people what I did to find my job. That way I can help somebody else that may be struggling out there. So I just thought this was a really cool idea. So if you guys are interested in my 5 tips on how to land your dream job, then go ahead and keep on watching. Okay guys, so fingers crossed that this is not going to be a super long video, but we're going to go ahead and fly through these tips, give you guys as much information as possible. I'm going to be putting information in the sidebar wherever it's going to pop up, so go ahead and read that while I'm talking. That will have most of the information in there. I won't be putting anything in the bottom bar because it's just a lot of information, so go ahead and pay attention, get a notepad if you need to, and let's go ahead and dive into these. So my first tip for you guys is to find your lane. If there's anything about college that's scary, it's picking a major. But on top of your major, they just teach you so much within that major, so it's really hard when you get out to figure out what exactly you want to do in the job market. Most people, they just get overwhelmed and they just start applying for this and applying for that because they're like, I know this and I know that, but you need to find a lane. You just need to find one job description that's going to fulfill all your needs, one position. That way you can really narrow in on your search. I wrote everything down, by the way, you guys, so I'm going to be looking down from time to time just to read some of my notes and make sure I'm getting everything in for you guys. But under find your lane, I also listed that you should find companies that interest you. Job openings can also be found on company websites, so if you do find companies that you really do like and you really like their goal, then go ahead and look for a job within that company's website. So you also want to find something that's a good fit for you, and the way you can do this is by looking at the qualifications. My job in particular that I have now, even though it is my dream job, I actually only learned about 20% of what I have to do in college. The rest of it, they actually trained me during my job. So you also want to find something like that. So if it is something that interests you, you know, you also want to see if the company is willing to train you in that position. Another good tip in finding your lane is also, if you're a person about money, which most of everybody is, go ahead and research those salaries online. And also when you're applying for these jobs, they do ask you what your expected salary is, so you don't want to be like way out of ballpark range because they're never going to call you. So you want to actually be within the limits of that position salary. Okay, you guys, so the next tip that I have, which is the most important tip, is your resume. On your resume, you want to make sure you have the most relevant information. I remember my first drafts of my resume, I had everything under the sun. It didn't even have to do with most of the jobs that I was applying for. I just wanted to put down the most information as possible to show that I was qualified. But when you do that, you're just overwhelming the person reading your resume. They're gonna go ahead and skip to the next person. So you just want to make sure the most relevant information is on your resume. You also want to make sure your resume is one page, because no one's gonna flip through and figure out, oh, is this person qualified? No, they just want to find out. They just want to make sure you're hitting all the hit points on their end that they need to fulfill the position. One example of how I messed this up really bad, I had a really good opportunity to interview for a company. It was like a movie company, and I had actually worked on a movie in college, and I didn't list that on my resume. And I actually spoke about it in my interview, but the lady was like, this isn't even on your resume. She was like, this is really good information to have, so you definitely don't want to miss out on those points. If it has anything to do about the job that you're applying for, make sure sure it's on your resume. Also, another tip to go along with this, I also created a new email when applying for my jobs. This is just a really good tip because when you are applying for jobs, they like to ask you for your email, and also that will be the email that they contact you on. So if you have an email that's full of sales at your favorite store, you're never going to sit there and draft through all those emails to know if someone's calling you back. So you might want to create a separate email just for your job hunting, just for companies to contact you through. I think it's just a really good idea from separating personal from business. Okay, you guys, so my tip number 3 is LinkedIn. You guys have probably heard so much about LinkedIn because they talk about it in college, or at least I hope they did. They definitely had like a whole class on it for me. And I thought it was like the stupidest thing ever. I was like, oh, it's just like a Facebook for jobs, basically to look at you, and it doesn't really work, and like all these things. And everyone's like, only if you pay for the LinkedIn part, that's when you really get noticed. Not true at all. I found my dream job through LinkedIn, and LinkedIn was like the main thing I was using. It also has an app on your phone, and it's like LinkedIn Jobs, and you can literally just sit there, search through all these different keywords and just search through different jobs, and you can save them for later, so that way when you go home you can actually apply for them online. So I use LinkedIn for a lot of my job hunting. I just had it set on different settings, that way it can alert me when there was jobs opening, and then like I said, in my free time I like to just search through the app. I know LinkedIn is not the only source that you can use. A lot of different things that I tried was also, there's an alumni page on Facebook for my school. I'm sure that there's alumni pages out there for you guys as well. My actual college had their own portal for jobs, so I like to surf through that as well. My school also held career fairs, so those are really important because you actually get to meet face-to-face with these companies and they can share a little bit about themselves. So I thought that was really cool. And also, the most important thing when searching for a job is using your own network. That's why I really liked LinkedIn, because if I didn't know somebody, I knew someone who knew someone. It was like a really good way to find... This guy just won't sit still. Just took everybody that you knew and then those people that they knew, and they try to put you in contact with them. So it's really good to network. It's really good to meet other people. Don't be afraid to message someone if you know them that works at another company, or if they went to your school. You know, just start a casual conversation. Don't just be like, hey, do you know any jobs? You know, just be really casual. Be like, hey, I saw that we went to the same school. I really like that company that you work for. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? You know, most people, they are on their LinkedIn a lot, so they'll definitely be open to helping you. LinkedIn is just a really great source, so go ahead and check that out. Okay, you guys, and my tip number 4 would be mock interviews. I know this sounds kind of stupid, but they're really important. Not only are you searching for a job, but you're also preparing for that moment when you actually land the job. Oh my god. So it is really important that you are prepared, because nothing's going to come to you if you're not prepared for it. So a lot of things that I used to do when I used to get callbacks for an interview was actually search the company on Google. You can search the company, you can search the job description, and you can just put interview questions after that. And there's multiple websites out there that have people that have actually gone on this interview, or it has, you know, mock questions that you can answer. And I thought that was a really great way to be prepared for the questions that they were going to ask me. Just by studying up on the questions, studying up on the company, just being aware of anything that they could throw at you. The interview is the hardest part, so you definitely want to be as prepared as possible. For me, this was really important because the one time I was going for, actually this is the job that I have now, but it was for a certain sport, and I actually knew nothing about this sport. So I literally spent my whole time leading up to the interview learning questions about this sport. I knew that if I really wanted the job, I really needed to have my information correct on what I was going on an interview for. Okay, you guys, my 5th and final tip. We made it, you guys. I didn't want this to be super long. I wanted this to just be helpful and to the point, just how your resume should be. Just saying, key tip. But my 5th and final tip for you guys is time. All of this is going to take time. It took me a year after I graduated to find my job. It wasn't easy. I was super sad all the time. I was really stressed out. I was really overwhelmed. If it wasn't for my family, my friends, I probably wouldn't have made it through that process. But thankfully for me, and by the grace of God, I got the dream job that I did. And it all took time, you guys. It's all going to happen at the time that it's supposed to. And you need to remember that it's all a process. It took time for you to learn all this information. It took time for you to graduate. And just like every process, it's going to take time for you to find your dream job. And even sometimes when you do find your dream job, there might be little things that are not okay with it. You should just know that things will get better in your job. For me, when I started my job, it was great. It was amazing. Everything about it I loved. But like anything, I had to sacrifice certain things. For my job, I didn't have weekends off, which was different for me. And I was also working overnight, and all that is okay because 2 years later I'm 2 promotions in. I'm actually going to a day shift, so everything works out in the end, but you just have to give it time. I also wanted to throw a couple things in there as well in the waiting process. You don't want to apply to way too many jobs because it does take a while for these companies sometimes to get back to you. They're sifting through all these applications, so don't go crazy and apply to multiple jobs at the same company. Sometimes they'll actually lock out your resume, which actually happened to me a couple of times. I applied to so many jobs from one company, and you can always tell because like an automated email will just keep replying back to you and saying, you know, we're not going to be interested in you at this time, you know, but definitely try in the future. And that's just like a way of them saying that you applied way too much. Another thing in this waiting period is it's really important that you keep yourself occupied. Don't just be jobless. Don't think that it's either the job or nothing. Definitely find something part-time in the meantime. Definitely find an internship, even if it's for free. You know, definitely stay in your craft and stay working, stay paying your bills. Guys, don't just give up. Companies will always ask you, if you're not working, why weren't you working? And like I said, it's definitely okay if you don't get it the first time. I went on an interview one time 4 times for just an internship and I still didn't get it. So you guys, it definitely does take time, and I think it's really important that you find a support system in this time of searching. It's not going to be easy, you guys, but definitely keep the faith. And I hope all these tips really helped you guys. That's pretty much the end of the video, you guys. I just wanted to make this short, simple, and quick. I just wanted to throw in a couple of tips that I learned on my own and tips that people have told me in the process. Like I said, it took me a year to find my job, but I absolutely love my job. It's really amazing. And it's really funny because the company that I really wanted to work for actually bought my company that I work at now. So I'm actually literally working my dream job for my dream company right now. So like I said, you guys, don't give up. It did take me a year, and I just stayed at it. I had a really great support system, and like I said, I was falling apart in the meantime, but don't be like me. I hope this provides you guys some encouragement. And if you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to DM me on Instagram. I will leave all that info here, and like I said, everything is always in the bottom bar below. And I hope this helped you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below, you guys. Ask me anything. If you guys want to throw other tips to other people that may be watching this video, don't be afraid to leave a comment down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.